that we're hearing the same from many people. Thank you, Mr. Graf Lambsdorff. Now, Mr. Cohn-Bendit for the Greens.
Herr Präsident.
President, colleagues. Now, sometimes when I've listened to the Commission and the Council speaking, I don't really know whether we're living on the same planet. We do seem to be thinking as if we're on different planets. Now, we heard from the Commission about 2020. Yes, it used to be a nice little fairy tale, 2020. That once upon a time there was a strategy of Lisbon. Once upon a time, these wonderful targets that never came into being. I'm really delighted that finally the Council has realized that we have a very high rate of youth unemployment. I mean, we've had this for the last 8 years, and they've discovered it. Welcome to the real world. Perhaps there are other things that you will be able to discover in the next 8 years that are happening in this world. And when you talk about youth unemployment, you might have been able to make the link up with Greece and think about how you're going to tackle youth unemployment in Greece. This brings us to a crucial problem that the Commission has to face. You know, when the neoliberal Taliban's rule the Commission, it's not going to be good for the rest of the world. And I can tell you what is being done in Greece at the moment. Mr. Swoboda is absolutely right. Not only are the Troika behaving irresponsibly, I would say they are criminal. Let me give you an example. I'm not sure which official is responsible for this, but the Council and the Commission are saying that the Greeks have to save another 326 million. You know, okay, this is after an attempt has been made to bring some order into this. The government with Samaras have said, yes, we'll save that from our defence expenditure. And then some Commission official says, no, 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 you've got to save that from pensions. Now, where on earth did you get the idea from? And why do you think that this should be done rather than taken from the defence expenditure? Now, that's neoliberal thinking. You're asking the Greeks to save. And Mr. Lambsdorff, it's not true at all that nothing is being done. Without interest rates, last year, we went from 10% to 3 to 4% over the last year alone. You can't tell people there that they have done nothing. How can anybody disgracefully just stand up and say things that aren't true? I mean, I think I'm going crazy listening to what's going on. 130 billion is what we're going to give the Greeks. And now we've got a problem of 380 million. Now, the only thing you can say with regard to this is that the Greek people are in a dreadful state and they are desperate. And they need help. If you all think that this is the way to save Greece, then you're absolutely wrong. You cannot bring through reforms without the people behind you. If you can constantly provoke a population, then that people will also take the wrong decisions. It may be the case that they have some erroneous ideas floating around, but it's not going to work if you constantly force these people to their knees. You have to be straight up with them. And I'd like to say to the Germans here, when the Germans were occupying Greece, there were 486 million from the Central Bank of Greece which were transferred to Germany, and that money has never been paid back. So we're talking about, if you add it all, 81 billion that is owed, if you add it all together with inflation. So if you compare that with the debt of Greece, that's another way of seeing history in Europe. And we call that European narrative and European history. Thank you.
Surprisingly, there's a blue card question, Mr. Cohn-Bendit. Mr. Graf Lambsdorff has the floor. Perhaps Mr. Cohn-Bendit could explain